Good morning, darling. Happy Monday. It is the top of the week, and the new, fresh theme for the week is fight for it. Fight for it. That is the theme for this fresh, new week. so, the topic for today is what is your fight style? What is your fight style? Now, later in this video, I'm going to talk a bit about some of the some of the known fighting styles. And I also think that they are undiscovered fighting styles, okay? There's no right or wrong. This is such a signature way. Like, what I know as someone who's on my signature path and supports others on their signature path is what works for me might not work for the next person. And you and I and everyone else must respect the instructions of our signature blueprints and move accordingly. My real intent, though, with this week is to give a permission to fight, first of all, because I recognize that for a lot of women, it's bad to fight. Don't fight that. No, we want harmony and peace and love. we do, and that's true too, right? But not at the expense of your thing not being birthed, not at the expense of you being walked all over, not at the expense of, you see what I'm saying? So, first of all, I'm just so delighted. I want to reiterate what I shared last week. If this is the first time you're hearing my voice, I'm Naima Singletary. I'm here every weekday. This is called The Power to Lead, the name of this show on YouTube. And I am usually here every 9 a.m. Pacific, like right now. And tomorrow I will be here at 9 a.m. Pacific. However, starting Thursday of this week, which is March 21st, the show will start at 8 a.m. Pacific instead of the current time of 9 a.m. Pacific. And on Wednesday, there will be no show because I will be traveling. I will be traveling to my beloved Italia. That's a little bit of housekeeping. Oh, one last thing. Today is the last day to enroll in the 5-Figure Clients for Melanin Messengers course. To register for that course, you can go to 5figureclients.com. That's number 5figureclients.com. I really like this jacket, and I was trying to determine if I was going to bring it on the plane with me or not. That's a whole other conversation. So, what is your fight style? That's the topic for today's show. What is your fight style? So, let's talk about the different fight styles. And like I said, there are others that are, to me, I think are undiscovered, but I'm going to talk about some of the primary ones. So, the most third-dimensional, probably patriarchal fight style is to just go at it. You fight. You go directly at it. You take it head on. You confront it. And so what I'm going to do is talk about the pros and cons of each one. And remember, there's no right way. It's you just being honest and respectful of your way, what works for you. But the base underneath each of these styles is the willingness, permission to fight. Fight for it is the theme for the week. So the first one, go at it, confront, go directly at it. Okay. Now, this would be really good for someone who historically runs from things, from a place of fear, from a place of, those people who just, they go run under a cover whenever something that they're afraid of or uncomfortable comes into their field. That would be good for them to do, to start to get into the habit of not running from things, to go full at it, full on, aggress, right? Accost, directly, poignant, clear, at it, right? You get that, right? Patriarchal, masculine. I think I'm clear with that. So there's a place for that, specifically for that person who I just described, right? Who typically runs from things. And so that's one style. Another style is a more laid back surrender style, where you're not running, you're not unwilling to fight. You might even feel some fear, but your way is to more so observe and respond. Observe and respond. Observe and respond. You watch the field. You watch the field. You watch how people are responding or reacting, right? You watch people's feelings do what they do. You watch, you watch, you watch, you wait, you watch, you watch, you watch, you watch. And you sit back and you watch, and then you respond based on from a thoughtful place of this is how I'm responding. And it's not aggressive and like the first one I just described where you just directly at it. It's much more reserved, it's much more thoughtful, right? And I think this is the way to go for people who are typically aggressive. People who like that's their way, that's their typical way, that's their especially if you find yourself exhausted going the aggressed way. If you find where it doesn't work as much, where you find where you're getting unfavorable results, right? Another way to try is to wait. Watch. Watch your own feelings. Because oftentimes an aggressive place is coming from a place of another kind of fear where you think if you just hurry up and go at it, you reduce your fear. It's like you want to deal with it because you're so afraid. So I think coming from a place of like kickback, wait, watch, look at your feelings, come from a place of true pureness versus from a place of reaction and fear. Okay? So that's another way. That's number two. So the first one is the aggress directly at it. Number two is sit back, watch, wait. Another way of fighting is to bring other people in on the situation and to gather information, gather data, right? That's community, team, village, friends, family, whoever's your people, bringing them in on the equation and basically showing up as a crew. Right, there's a group of you going at this thing, and you're presenting for whatever with whatever perspective you're coming from. Whether you're coming from we're a group, don't fuck with us, coming up from that perspective. Whether it's we're here to support, we're here as a team, we've cared enough to gather and be thoughtful, and now here we come, right? So there's different tonalities to all of these. This way that you can come in the group form. But that's another way of fighting versus the first one, it could be aggressive, which could also be with a team, but it could not. The second one is more of a laid-back approach, thoughtful, and then come in a much more meticulous way, thoughtful way. And that could be also with the team or by yourself. The third one is very much so we come as one. Like it's a we-ness to it, okay? It's a group element. Right? And there's a place for that, right? I remember working with a coach, and that was her way. Everything she did, there was a group of people, whether it was, I remember we went to a retreat, there was always a group. And I watched how she played with the group. It was very much like I could feel like there was like a tag team. Like if she really wanted to create like a power of we, and like you could feel the aggression when she would call on other people to really use it as a group dynamic to get her point, to get something done. And there's a place for that, It doesn't have to be like that. And remember, neither one of these is right or wrong. It's about what works for you, your natural personality style, what your blueprint calls forth for you. Okay, I'm just speaking to what your fight style is so you can be clear about which one is for you and then use it. And then if you see a place where it makes sense for you to use another one, because, and perhaps I should have said this in the beginning of today's show, we're out here birthing signature work. We're fighting. You're fighting. There will be a time for you to fight. Oh, this is what so I think in the parentheses of the title of this video, and what I want to was, please blanket this whenever I say fight for it this week. Fight for it and then rest. We are women. Most of the folks I'm talking to are women, okay? Men can fight. Now they need rest too, but they're trained and they're much more can last from an aggressed, action-oriented state. Because it's a masculine way. Women, if we're fighting, when we're fighting, when we're aggressing, rest is critical, like daily rest. Okay? So if you are, fighting in some kind of a way during the day, you got a project, you got some difficult people in your life, you got some of your own difficult emotions, you're doing something going into unfamiliar territory, you're feeling uncomfortable, you're moving through that, you're feeling all the feelings, you're doing all the things, baby, somewhere, whether it's at the end of the day or shoot, it could be 10 o'clock in the morning, you need to rest. Rest. So if you need to go take a 30-minute nap, do that. If you need to get on the mat, do that. Baby, I'm telling you, this morning I woke up tight, like, went and got on the yoga mat for 30 minutes. I was singing by the time I got off that mat. Okay? Singing. Yeah, I'm ready for the day. I'm ready for the day. Let's go. Rest. Take care of yourself as much as you need to. You have full on permission to rest. My eye has been jumping. My muscle under here has been jumping for the last 2 days. And I like it. It sort of calls forth a kind of surrendering because the way it does its own thing, no matter what I'm doing. So those are the three primary. Like I could really take some time today and go into some nuances and like some other just my own observations of the way people fight. There's passive aggressive fighting. You know what I mean? Like there's so many nuances, and but I want to share those three. So I want to reiterate the three primary that I shared today. One is the aggressive, go at it. And there's a place for that. The number two is the more reserved, sit back, wait, watch, observe your own feelings, and instead of reacting, you respond. You respond. That's number two. Number three is group, we sort of fighting. And I want to close with this. Fighting is not a bad thing. Fighting is not a bad thing. What you and I must do is learn to assess within our world and reject what the outside world is constantly telling us what we can and cannot and should not. I think it's worth having a conversation about how it might be even hard to know what is right for a person if you are used to, because of the corruption. Part of what we're going into in the five-figure clients from Melanin Message is the level of corruption in one's high connection with one's higher intelligence, and how it might be even hard to identify what is for you because of the corruption, and being alone too, and afraid to engage and activate that thing that is for you, but you don't see anybody else doing it, so you're like, is that the right thing to do? So that, I just want to give voice to that. And you and I are constructing worlds. I think it's really important to recognize that you and I are constructing worlds. Therefore, there's a blueprint already present that we must draw from to when I talk like this, I feel like this is for an even smaller group of people who hear my voice. This is for an even smaller, more, folks who really are committed to their signature path. That's such a smaller demographic of people. All right, that's it for today. So I'll be back here tomorrow. Lots of love. Have a